Hello everyone, Sunburnt Fanta here, and today I am discussing the Nintendo PlayStation and the shocking news for how much it sold for. Now, the amount may sound like a lot, $360,000. That sounds like a lot, and it is a lot of money, don't get me wrong. This is a ton of money, and this is one of the, if not the most expensive video game items ever sold. But this was a system that Terry Diebold, which is the owner of the system, well, was the owner of the system, was offered millions. He was offered $1 to $2 million. I'm not completely clear as to how much. I just know that it was over $1 million was one of the offers that he turned down. Now, the reason he turned it down, I mean, you might be shocked hearing that. Oh, what? Why the hell would he turn that down, Fanta? That's crazy. Now, he turned it down for, I think, a legitimate reason. Now, I wouldn't have, but this was his reason behind it. Now, he bought this back in 2009 at a bankruptcy auction, and I don't really know how much he spent on it. I don't believe I found it out there. I don't believe he told me, but he bought it at a bankruptcy auction, obviously not for hundreds of thousands, and he toured the world with this thing. He went everywhere. In fact, I got to play the console for a couple hours. I hung out with Terry and his son, and there's just a picture of me right there with the console, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with them. They're really cool people, and I could see why he did it. I can completely see why. He went to like Hong Kong. He went all over the United States to different expos. People were flying him out to these different places. There were different magazines that were getting interviews and they were doing write-ups about it. And he sent the system off to a YouTuber and he tried to get the disc part of the system functional. Terry has a long history with this system and he wanted to be the celebrity he was. I mean, he was a celebrity for almost 11 years with this console, traveling around to all these different places. And I don't know if you guys have ever traveled around and gone to a bunch of different places and not had to pay for it, but it's awesome. I mean, I did it for work and I wasn't like having a fun time like he was. So I can only imagine how much fun he had and how many times he was bonding with his son at these places. So I understand why he turned down those offers. Again, I probably wouldn't have. That's a lot of money. But I get it. And I feel really bad for him that it only sold for this much after being offered that amount of money. And it's shocking to me that it sat at about $280,000 for a long time. I remember when the system first went up for auction, and I saw it sitting there for $280,000 for a long time. And I kind of got worried for him, because I know the guy, I know his son. I've seen him a couple times at Game On Expo. Like I said, I hung out with him for a night. We went to dinner. It was fun. And so I knew that these guys were cool people. I had talked to them about all their different adventures, and to see it sell for a fraction of how much was offered, oh man, that sucks. Especially when you factor in fees, taxes, everything else. He's probably walking away with $200,000, something like that at the end of the year. I mean, that's still, again, a lot of money, but compared to 1 million or more, oh man, I feel so bad. That'd be like winning the lottery and then losing half of the tickets. So they're like, well, here's a consolation prize. Another thing that was really interesting about the story and something I haven't talked about in any videos is what the future / right now would look like, what the gaming landscape would look like if Sony and Nintendo had actually stayed partner up. Because that's what the Nintendo PlayStation was. It's a disc-based and cartridge-based system made during a collaboration of Nintendo and Sony. This thing has never happened before. There's never been anything like this where these been two giant companies. I mean, Nintendo worked with like Panasonic and made a terrible but cool-looking GameCube. But that was something different. That was just something that could play DVDs or something like that. It was nothing like a brand new system that was going to start playing disc-based games. And for some reason, Nintendo went back to just cartridges, and then they tried to make the Nintendo DD, which was a complete failure. And I don't know, it would just be a really interesting future that we would have if they had stayed partnered. I mean, we'd have The Last of Us on the Nintendo PlayStation. and we'd have Mario on the same system. You know, it'd be a really interesting prospect. Or would we have never gotten any of these first-party exclusives, or just exclusives in general, that PlayStation has come out with? Maybe we would have never seen Uncharted. Maybe we would have never seen Crash Bandicoot or Spyro. Because during that time, that competition was so fierce between Nintendo and PlayStation that they were constantly trying to make better exclusives to sell their console to the market. And this battle of market share is what creates interesting IPs. It's what constantly fuels the console war, and we as gamers and customers are benefiting by it. Now, a lot of people are going to argue that exclusives are a bad thing, and I get that. It does feel like a bummer when you don't have that system, but the thing is, these games get even more money than other games might have had. Like if, for instance, let's say The Last of Us. Same with God of War. Maybe they wouldn't have gotten as much funding if it wasn't an exclusive game. So there you have it. One of the most interesting consoles with one of the most expensive auctions for video games ever. That just so happened to be way lower than a lot of offers he got before. It's a really interesting story, especially as a person that knows the people involved, to follow. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like the video if you guys liked it. And of course, comment down below if you feel bad for the fact that they didn't get that $1 million, or if you think all those experiences of all the different interviews and showing off the system to different people and going to different expos and all that stuff was worth the cut. And I feel like a lot of people are going to say, the experience is worth more than the money. Though you could look at it as though, oh, they could have had these experiences with the money. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. Subscribe for more content, and as always, have a fantastic day. See you guys.